this.
In 5. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Mike.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going. It's a little warm.
It's a little warm. I should turn my fan on as well because it is warm down here in the old shop. Speaking of warm, and I'm sitting on like a leather-topped chair. That's a dining room chair. That's not in my dining room at the moment.
Where are you going with this?
I saw on Instagram someone had a boys cooler or the cooler for the boys or whatever, and they 3D printed something that goes on your vent in your car with a tube that you tuck up your shorts. And I could use one right now.
I kind of want to get one of those for the patrol car and just like
in my vest.
Underneath my vest.
They actually make one called
the Cool I know, Cop. But you have to like completely disassemble the fucking dash.
No, you just duct tape it to one of the vents.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could do that, but the way it's designed to be installed is you have to like take apart the dash. There was a bunch of us that were looking into it one year.
Okay. If I worked again during the day, which isn't going to happen in a patrol car unless when I get if I do the truck officer thing, I would like to get one because during the day, especially out by you, where it's even hotter than it is here, with all that gear on, holy crap, man, is it getting effing hot.
Yeah, it gets a little toasty.
Yeah. All right, so good news. This episode of the Handcuffs and Sawdust podcast, which is episode 48, is being brought.
The Pablo Sandoval one.
Pablo Sandoval and
Panda.
Reggie Phillips, someone you don't even know. But Reggie Phillips was a backup cornerback for the Chicago Bears.
Hold on. You're going with a backup corner that played for the Bears.
And in Super Bowl 20, had a pick 6.
Okay, was it the
which
deciding
helped the team win
score?
46-10.
So you're telling me that it was probably in garbage time.
Which was the largest Super Bowl victory until like the next year.
Until
the 49ers.
Yeah. I think they played the Bengals and then beat them or was it the Broncos that they beat like 55-10?
No, the Bengals.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Reggie, number 48, that's always sticks in my head I see it over and over in my head, the interception that went back for a touchdown. Okay. So when you're in the Super Bowl and your team is crushing it, you can never have too many points. Even the 2 points that Henry Wachter got on a safety sack.
Nobody knows who
sticks
that
in
is.
my head. Everyone that's
it's
in
like
Chicago
maybe 3 Bears fans who know.
No, everyone knows who he is. Yeah.
I have no clue. And
so anyways, episode 48, the Pablo Sandoval, Reggie Phillips episode.
No, the Panda episode. We'll go with that, the Panda episode. What? He's a World Series MVP.
Did he score a touchdown in the Super Bowl?
No, but he did hit 4 home runs in a World Series game.
All right, I'll give that one to you.
I think like 3 of them were off Justin Verlander.
Then he gets my vote.
In San Francisco, where it is notoriously hard to hit a home run.
Yeah, except unless you're
Barry
Bonds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So episode 48 is being brought to you by Driverback. We'd like to thank Driverback for being a sponsor on the show. If you're not familiar with Driverback, let me tell you what it is. Driverback is the only patented retractable bit lanyard system. So how it works is they have standard hex-shaped bits, screwdriver bits, square bits, and they all sit in this rubber contraption that slides over any of your drills. And then it snaps on the drivers. Impact drivers. If you go to their website on driverback.com, you can see how easy it is to order and how it works. They have a video of how it works. There's 3 easy steps to get your own. The first one is picking out which impact tool you have. And then you can buy multiples for different ones. And then the third one is just place your order. Michelle over there at Driverback has been with us all year, and we've been trying to get her to get on the show, but they're so busy over there expanding their brand and making bigger and better things. She hasn't had the time to sit with us. So go to driverback.com, pick up one of those systems for yourself, and they are actually, here's what we're doing, Brandon. They're giving away Driverback systems to our listeners.
What?
They are 1 per episode. So This being the first episode sponsored by Driverback, whoever sends us a question next week, where are they going to send the question to? We have to have one place.
email it,
Tell it.
a voice memo, or even type it up if you're shy. It's okay.
Correct.
To handcuffs&sawdustpodcast at gmail.com.
Tell us why you need this tool after you go to the website and look, and why you think you're a good fit to get the tool. We'll put all those into a hat and draw out a winner, and you will be sent a driver back system for your drill. You'll have to tell us what drill you use, what impact, what model number. And once you send us all that and why you think you deserve one, the winner will get one sent to them from Michelle at Driverback. Because Driverback, Brandon,
is always ready for your next screw.
Boom. That just happened. I'm Mike Marrazzo.
It's the tool that you didn't know that you needed.
Definitely. And I have one. Hold right here. I'm going to show you. For those that are visual learners and actually don't know what the system is, real quick, here it is on my heavy-ass Ryobi impact. And I used mostly is the screwdriver one. So it's simple as that. You put it in, and then when you pop it out, it slides back into its little holder, and then you pull out your square bit one or your Torx bit one and put it right in. So this isn't, if you do this properly with one hand, that's it, man. This is one of the best systems out there. I only have one.
Hit the trigger.
Hit the trigger.
There you go. See?
So pop out, change it to the next one. It just slides back. And when I ordered these, she had sent me another system to replace these when these wear out. So you can replace them if they wear out. That's a fantastic system. Clips on.
Or if you find that you just need different ones.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is, although I like this heavy ass Ryobi impact, it's heavy. I need a compact impact. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think I'm actually going to buy a better brand. Ryobi's never done anything wrong to me, but I think I might try a DeWalt or
I have the DeWalt Atomic.
Okay.
And it's so light and so great for overhead work.
The only and it probably has the different battery system, right? The ones that most of the other drills have with the slide-in batteries.
And you pair the DeWalt Atomic with their new Power Stack battery.
Yeah,
dude, it's so small and it's compact. I feel like I just put it in a cargo pocket and be fine.
Oh, I might have to look them up. DeWalt is not a sponsor of this podcast, but they can be at some point if they wish to be.
Just be sure to send an email to fullhousewoodworking@gmail.com.
Hey, I had another company reach out to me. This was a good one.
God damn it.
Well, 2 in the last week.
Great. Now DeWalt's never going to reach out.
One of them was if I want my own cologne scent.
I think you absolutely should go down that road.
I already said no. What the hell is that? My listeners won't like that. What? Hey, how about what we should have said is the Handcuffs and Sawdust cologne.
There you go.
Makes it smell like you've been working in a wood shop all day.
Smells like sweat and shame and borderline alcohol abuse.
I mean, how did these people find me and send me that shit? And then the other person,
I regularly get DMs saying like, "Hey, we think you'd be a great fit for our carbon neutral, like recycled jewelry line." I'm like, what about what I put out screams that I would be a good fit for this, other than I have a social media account.
Right. Well, that's what they do. And, one of them sent me, here, we'd like you to be a brand ambassador for us. You can pick one of these things, a fire safe or a cart for like shopping. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I said, no, I'll have to pass. None of my followers.
Briefly, I was a brand ambassador for a company. Well, I'm assuming it was a company. I don't know if they were actually legit or not, but they're like, I forget what it was called. But they had like these T-shirts with like pretty cool little things on them. I still wear one of the shirts. And they're like, yeah, you just buy one shirt and then we'll give you like a coupon code. And as long as like people use the coupon code and stuff, like you can acquire points and you can get free stuff. I'm like, sounds like I gotta do a lot of work, man. Yeah. Like, all right, whatever. And then I bought the shirt and the shirt's like, I was hoping it would be lighter, but man, this thing is like a 3-pound shirt.
Oh, like a really heavy cotton shirt.
It's heavy, man.
That's not good. This shirt I'm wearing, Red Lake Woodshop, is a really soft, like poly blend. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
You can get them at Red Lake Woodshop on his Instagram account if you're interested. I just have one question for Marty.
I really want to ask you if you know kind of the joke behind that.
The red leg?
No. The way it's laid out on the shirt. Like the way the logo looks.
No. My only question about the logo is, why is this orange and not red? That's what was going to be my question. But what? Why? What is it? Am I missing something?
Yeah.
Are you going to text it to me now?
Stand by.
Standing by.
Go ahead and talk about some shit. I'm going to.
All right. I was perusing the Officer
God,
Down
Mike,
Memorial
I love your
page
simple mind.
that we'll be talking about later. And it apparently lost 3 officers in a helicopter crash.
Yeah.
In New Mexico. So that was pretty bad. And then what's not on there that I wanted to address later is the 3 Chicago police officers committed suicide. So
yeah,
bring us down. But
we can bring it up here at the top of the show. There's a new suicide hotline number. It's 988.
988. Yep.
988. It actually went live today. So if you need help, please reach out and get help. And Mike, you should be receiving a picture to your phone.
Okay.
Explaining exactly why that's hilarious.
Okay. That's why I didn't. Damn, Marty's pretty brilliant, isn't he?
Oh, God, I love you, Mike. You're just...
Had he used an OnlyFans logo as well, I wouldn't have known. Marty, you're brilliant. He's actually my woodworker shout out of the week. So,
wasn't he your woodworker shout out last week?
I thought I forgot to say it. So now he's 2 weeks in a row.
We've been talking about him for a while.
Okay,
he's a special fella.
Special fella, and he's Polish, so he likes to when I go, "Hey, it's okay, no problem." He says that.
It's no problem.
It's no problem. It's all right. Yeah. So, how was your week over there, out there on the shiny West Coast, where you don't need air conditioning because you live where a big breeze blows into your house?
So many naked people. I wish there weren't so many naked people. So I have to.
They're everywhere.
I have to start with. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'll talk about 3 calls. 2 will be funny. 1 will be really sad. And that's how we're gonna get through this. Okay, so the first one was actually my last call of the week. It's the recruits' last week of the limbo phase where they're not graded at all. Yeah, every now and then I go, how low can you go? Let that sink in for a second. Pause for effect. All right. So we went to a call where this supposed to be a homeless feller, or I'm sorry, a person experiencing homelessness or a member of our unhoused community is supposed to be sitting behind a dumpster near a nice apartment complex smoking meth. So we roll out with my buddy, and he's sitting there, and the person who called in said, like, hey, his arm is swollen. I don't know if he needs an ambulance or anything. I'm like, all right. So we show up, and dude, his arm looked like a freaking salami that you would see in a deli.
I like salami. Would I have taken a bite?
Maybe. It would have been bad. No, but it's got like a cockroach on it. Yeah. Like that's how big around it was.
Oh.
And this dude, like, his torso was about as big around as my thigh. It's like his arm was bigger than his torso, it looked like. Yeah. So we get him sitting on the curb, and he's, no, I don't need an ambulance. It's been like this. I keep going to the doctor for it, and they keep giving me stuff for it, and it just doesn't go any smaller. I'm like, all right, well, you're going to lose that arm eventually. And he keeps, so he's got his jeans like sagged down by his knees, and he's got like these, I don't want to call them tights, but he's got some other type of legging on. And he keeps reaching on his inner thigh, and he's like messing with something, and it's too far down to be his dick. Okay, like, yes, this was a black guy, but it's too far down to be his dick.
Not the guy going around on the internet sitting on the bed. Not that guy. No,
not that guy.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for the recruit to kind of pick up that he's fiddling with something, because I'm thinking, I found his pipe. It's right there. And she doesn't address it. I'm like, all right, well, let's see if she addresses it. Nothing. For like 5 minutes. And finally I just go, hey, dude, what do you keep messing with right there? And stone-faced looks me dead in the eye and goes, it's poop, sir.
Poop.
Poop.
And the front of his pants.
Well, down
inside,
down like his pant leg.
but on the back or the side?
It was like on the inside of his thigh, but he kind of like had reached around by his hamstring and like kind of brought it around.
Had it hardened?
I don't
Been
know.
down there for so long, and he just
I don't
moved
know
it to the
because
front?
right after he said that, my buddy and I looked at each other and then looked back at him and said, "You need to fucking leave."
Right now.
Like right now.
Do not pull that out or drop it right here. He's trying to shake it out of his
leave.
pant
Just
leg.
leave.
Like
just
hoping it
get
falls
outta
down.
Here. I fucking hate you. Just get
onto
out
the
of here.
top of his shoe, and then he like kicks his foot up at you and then flings it at you that way. But he didn't physically fling it at you.
Yeah. So that was just the way he just looks at you and goes, "It's poop, sir."
He was British?
He had like that kind of accent. It was weird. I'm like, God damn it, dude. Just get out of here. Get out of here right now if you know what's good for you. And then
Take that shit with you.
Yeah. Oh God. But we also went to an alleged sexual assault of a 3-year-old.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, that was rough. I don't know if it's legit because just sitting there and kind of trying to talk to the 3-year-old and kind of the way she was acting pretty normal. And
The 3-year-old?
yeah, like she was like kind of like happy, bubbly, and bouncy all over. But it never disclosed to us any abuse, but disclosed it to mom and apparently told the doctor the same thing. So
Really?
that was not particularly fun
No, what the fuck, dude?
to do.
Who's the offender?
Allegedly her dad.
Now I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And this is from my experience on the job. There's a Hispanic family.
Yes.
Okay. This is not an uncommon practice in that culture.
I mean,
and I don't want to just call not every person, but it is prevalent. And
yeah, I mean,
often.
I've seen these things, before. It's not my first
rodeo.
My child's sexual assault, but that I've, responded to or written about. So, but that wasn't fun. So that was really depressing.
Yeah.
And then to bring it back to the funny side, right?
Oh, that's okay.
We're gonna pivot hard.
Flip a bitch.
Yeah. So on Saturday, so my Saturdays are really rough, especially this week. Annie was out of town at a homeschooling conference, so my mother-in-law was in town to watch the kids while I worked, and we had a baseball game that we had to do on Saturday morning. My son had a martial arts demonstration performance right before I had to leave for work, and then I had to leave for work.
Yeah.
And then the night prior to that, so like Friday night, was the night of the previous case that I just talked about.
Okay.
So I didn't get home till like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I had to be up at 8.
Ugh, again.
So, yeah.
Ugh, man.
So get up, do all the things, go to work, get in the car with the recruit, and I say, hey, we're going to go to Togo's.
Is that a food place?
It's a sandwich place. It's a national chain.
Are we going to talk about food now? Because I'm starving.
No, this ties into it.
Okay.
Because I look around and go, because 1, super tired, and 2, hungry. So we're going to go get food before we do anything else. Drive. We're driving down the street, and I look down at my phone for a second, and she goes, oh my God, that's a naked lady.
Where?
Which, of course, I go like, wait, what are you talking about?
Right, where?
Back
Is she driving? Oh, she's driving.
Yeah, she's driving.
Right.
She started driving this week, so I'm like looking back. Oh yeah, she's naked. And then my buddy, who's like a couple car lengths ahead of us, calls me. I answer. I go, yeah, we see her. We're
on our way.
We're gonna go deal with that. You want to come? You want to come with? It's like, yeah. So we jump out of the car, and this chick is butt ass naked. No shoes, no nothing. Nothing is covered.
Question.
Answer.
Is she just walking down a sidewalk or street, or is she sitting at a bench? Is she doing sit-ups? Is she doing cartwheels?
She is taking a stroll.
Walking down on the sidewalk.
on a sidewalk of a major road, and nobody had called yet.
Wow.
And she's holding about a 750 milliliter bottle of good old Jack Daniels. And that bitch is about 75% gone.
Ugh.
So we light her up. And of course, because I'm the FTO, I'm the first one out of the car. And the only thing I could think to say was just, "Hi, what you doing?"
Hey, how you doing?
"What you doing?"
I love talking to people like that.
"It's about damn time you guys showed up. Where have you been for the last 4 hours?" I'm like, "Oh no, this is gonna take a really dark turn. No, take a really dark turn."
She's
No,
1096.
no. Like, please don't say that she's been sexually assaulted or kidnapped or anything bad. Just be crazy. Please just be crazy. And then the recruit finally, is done putting the car in park and undoing the seatbelt and getting out.
What the hell?
I'm like 3/4 of the way through this call.
Already handling it.
And then she starts talking to her, and she raises up the bottle of Jack Daniels, and I go for the taser. I'm like, "Yeah, you're gonna get fried." And then she throws it to the side, and then I went, "Oh,
I was going to have to do paper for use of force."
Well, I guess I'll let her write the crazy person report.
So, did we take her somewhere in our police car?
Well, we put her in the police car where we tried to figure out who she was.
But hold on, another question.
Answer. Yes, Mike, you?
Did you put down like a towel or
No.
some type of protective garment that wouldn't corrode your backseat?
No, we have
From her
plastic
ass.
back seats.
Okay.
We have like
It's
hard
like-
plastic.
Yeah,
back
we used to
seats.
have those. Actually, we have them now. We used to have actual in our Crown
Like
Vics.
cloth?
In our Crown Vics, we had the pleather, fake leather.
Ugh.
But and then you'd have to take the whole bench seat out at the beginning of every shift because it came out, and you could check for weapons and then put it back in.
Yeah, that's no.
Now we have the hard plastic.
We have hard plastic, and then the floorboards in the back seat have like a little drain plug.
Very smart.
So,
Okay.
because somebody else peed in another person's car this week, and it was just sloshing around apparently.
Oh my God.
But once we finally figured out who she was, I guess she had tried to commit suicide on the 4th of July, and had used like a hacksaw on her wrist.
Jeez. Did you show her the proper way of doing it?
Yeah, I was like,
Lengthwise?
you're
with a
going
razor
for
blade?
attention here. This is how we get
this
results
way.
right here.
Right. Yeah.
Like just
Education.
I'm not encouraging suicide, but if you're going to do something, do it right.
Right. That's my dad always taught me.
Anyways, if you are experiencing thoughts of suicide, please dial 988. It's the National Suicide Hotline, and it is live today. All right, disclaimer. Now we can't be sued. Michelle's going to be thrilled with this episode.
Driver back and suicide together.
Yeah. And child sexual assaults.
Right. She's going, I'm going to review my
I
sponsorship.
I think
program.
I want to continue this sponsorship. But yeah, she ended up going to the hospital because she was picking at the stitches and stuff. But I looked at the recruit and I go, "So you want to do police work, huh?"
This is just the beginning.
I go, because she started her week with a crazy naked lady.
Oh, what's a good way to end it then?
Yeah, and then she ended her week with a
bookend
crazy
it.
naked lady, and I was like, "Hey." And this poor kid, she's got nothing but like weird or complex cases.
That's how we learn, right?
I guess. I'm even there sitting there going like, this is a fucking tough one. This is challenging me. So that was kind of my week in a nutshell. We did have an officer in the area shot. I don't like the way that their department put it out. The way their press release was that someone shot at one of their officers.
Right. That's what
And then later
I
on
read.
in the press release is like, yeah, he went to a local hospital and is expected to make a full recovery. I'm like, hold on. That means he was shot, not shot at. He was shot.
There's a difference.
So I guess he took one in the arm and the vest. He's already been discharged. He was discharged from the hospital that night.
Okay.
But
Thank God.
From what I understand, 5 years on, was working a DUI overtime car.
Okay. Which we
And
have a lot of.
yeah, and then this piece of shit decided he was going to take 2 shots at him. This guy was in custody less than 24 hours later after a brief foot pursuit with U.S. Marshals.
How did the Marshals get involved?
I don't know.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah, I know they pulled in our covert response team to do a workup on the guy and to help with the apprehension, but it seems like, at least in this area, if it involves like current or former law enforcement, the marshals get involved, because there was the murder in Oakland of the TV security guy, Kevin Nishida.
Yeah.
So he's former PD, and then
right.
that suspect was apprehended by U.S. Marshals too. So I'm thinking that if it involves law enforcement, that the marshals kind of take a very active role. Although I can say that if it were to happen in my agency, we would probably just handle it ourselves because we're big enough to. Because Mountain View PD is really small. Oh yeah, no, that's from what I understand. Like, most of the county was involved in helping.
Okay,
but that happened Friday. I think right as we were unloading, I saw a bunch of the sheriff's cars go screaming around. I'm like, I wonder what's going on.
Yeah,
because they don't usually do much.
The sheriffs?
like unless it's big, you don't really see them flying around with their lights and sirens on.
I actually had to call the woodpecker police myself last night or this morning, however that works.
So how was your week, Mike?
I've got so much stuff on this list that I want to talk about over the next coming weeks. I said the next couple of weeks. I could
do an entire show with just my calls.
Right. I've got stuff on here that's old that we need to get to at some point. But so do you have woodpecker police by you? And that would be Forest Preserve Police, County Forest Preserve. Do you even have forest preserves out by you?
Yeah, we have like parks. So we have park rangers, and then we have like state park rangers. But
park rangers are different from
deal with them. Preserves. Well, I don't fucking know. Not in my area. We don't have like forest preserve stuff. Okay,
we have. It's being in Cook County, which is one of the largest counties in this United States. There's a lot of parks that the county. Sorry, my ceiling's squeaking. I think my son just came home. So we have a lot of county parks, and our town, specifically where I work, tons of woods. That's where I get to see like 30 deer a night and all this other bullshit. So anything that happens from the curb into the woods is county. So like 2 weeks ago, we get a call of a fight in progress in this. So if you're driving up one of our main roads, there's a little turn in. So it has a parking lot for cars, and then a picnic table in the forest preserve area that's all cleared of trees, and then the trees with the trail that goes along the river and all this other stuff. Anything in there is forest preserve jurisdiction. So 2 weeks ago, we get the call of a fight in progress. One man has a gun, and my buddy, who's our lieutenant, he's working the DUI detail, like you had just mentioned, and this other officer. So he happens to be in that area, and I start flying up there, and he and I get there about the same time, and they have the Forest Preserve Police had already come and put a chain up across the gate, so cars can't get in there because it was in the evening. It'd be like 8 o'clock at night. And so Jim and I drive up over the curb and onto the grass, and then jump out, and we get a description of the offender, a description of the victim, and we can't find the offender. Someone says the offender is a white male wearing a pink shirt, and he got in a silver BMW. Just south of this Forest Preserve District turn-in place, picnic area, is a banquet hall. So one of our guys is coming up, and there's a male white with a pink shirt getting in a BMW, and he comes right up to him with a squad, points a gun at him. And the guy was just leaving the banquet hall.
Takes him at gunpoint?
Takes him at gunpoint. And we're going towards the victims, and we realize who these victims are. These fucking shitbags that we have that are heroin users that we've been dealing with like for years. A woman and her son, and then that woman's boyfriend who was missing. He was the third person that was missing. And it turns out, we think, that he called it in, and then he picked this random person coming out of a banquet hall as he was leaving for us to stop that guy, because this guy doesn't have a car. He walks everywhere. So he just pointed out some random Joe Blow walking out of a banquet hall as a suspect. So anyways, we find out who it is, and someone's saying that the guy ditched a gun in the woods. So Dan and I start walking in the woods in this clearing, and then Dan looks off to his left and sees this fucking tent city. There's a big tent and a picnic table and a patio with chairs, and it's these shitbags who got kicked out of an apartment area by us. They're now living in the forest preserves. So for some reason, the Cook County Forest Preserve police female had to come back. We didn't call her yet. We were going to, because this all happened on their property. So she shows up. She asked one of us if we could stick around because she's by herself and she doesn't, want to get overpowered by these assholes. So that's what the Forest Preserve police come and do. They handle these types of things that happen in the woods, even though it's, anywhere from 10 feet from our major road. Later that night, the guy who was the victim, one of the druggies, we get a call of a male walking into the street near a bus stop. And I fly up there, and it's this shitbag who had just done some heroin, and he's like doing the nod. He grabs onto this enclosure where you sit for a bus. He's just holding on to it. And I show up and I say his name, and he's like, "I'm looking for a purse." And I get him to sit down on the bench while I call an ambulance, and he's doing the whole nod thing. He's sitting, and his head's almost hitting the ground because he's nodding forward, and I'm picking him back up, and then he's going all the way back down to the ground. So I saw him last night. So it ties in together with having to call the woodpecker police. Last night I get the call of a woman who's passed out in the woods near a well, because we have these natural spring water wells where people come and fill up jugs for water. And they're trying to put water on her to revive her. They drag her to the fucking well, and then they're pumping the well.
And they're waterboarding her.
Waterboarding her. So
tell us what you know.
I'm the first car there, and I show up, and I can't. It's pitch black. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, it's 3 o'clock in the morning actually. So I use my spotlight over by the well, and they're all gathered over there. And there's the two shitbags from 2 weeks ago. Guy who was the heroin bus rider and his mom, and then a juvenile and his mom who's passed out, and we've been dealing with her too for many years. So I grabbed my Narcan out of my bag. I finished eating my goldfish as I'm pulling up.
I mean,
they're waving.
I do love my fishes because they're so delicious.
That's right, they're delicious. They're frantically waving at me. Reach over, grab my Narcan, take one out, start walking over there. I'm walking towards them at about the space of the new Batman as he comes out of the tunnel, as the guys are beating up the gang's beating up the Asian dude. Just slow steps, and they're like waving at me, and I'm like yelling,
"Yeah, I'm coming.
I'm coming." I'm waiting for EMS to show up. So I finally make it all the way over there, and I see who it is, and I'm like, "What'd she take?" And her kid's like, "I don't know, coke, crack, Xanax." All right, roll her over on her back. I'm about to give her a chest rub, see if she's alive before I Narcan her. And then once he tells me what she took, that Narcan doesn't work on that. So I just flash my bright light in her face, and then she opens her eyes. So I'm like, oh, I don't have to deal with her. EMS is coming. And then I noticed the ankle bracelet because she's on house arrest. She's also homeless. So I don't know how a house arrest works when you're homeless, but I said to the kid, don't you guys live over on, such and such a street anymore? He said, no, they kicked us out because we haven't paid our rent in 2 years. And I thought to myself, oh, good. But how'd you end up back here in my town again? And so here's what the fire department, I love those guys most of the time. They show up, they get her on a cot. Now there's one guy who doesn't like to do much in the fire department or the EMS ambulance.
It's always one.
And he says to me, hey, Mike, she's got an ankle bracelet. And I go, I don't fucking care. It's not ours. She's not even in our she's county's problem. First of all, their officers have like an 80-mile jurisdiction and they're by themselves. So it's going to take them a while to get there. They didn't want to take her to the hospital. He wanted someone to go with, a police officer, because she had an ankle bracelet. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It's not our ankle bracelet. The county's problem. I don't give a shit if she's got an ankle bracelet. So then I said to them, her 17-year-old son has to go with. He's not allowed. I go, hold on a second. Here's 2 homeless people. One's 17. His mom's going to the hospital, and you're going to leave him here in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't go with. What? I don't understand how he can't go to the hospital with his mom. So I called dispatch. I'm like, please call the county. Let them know we have this 17-year-old here, and I'll just sit here and wait for them. And he's hanging out with 2 fucking heroin users, so I can't leave him. And then they're like, oh, we'll hang out with them. And I'm like, great, that's good, thanks. And the guy who's the heroin
so
user,
responsible.
He's like, you guys saved my life last time I saw you at the bus stop. I go, have you learned anything? I'm sober ever since. And I'm like, you're so full of shit, dude. That's so full of shit. So I'm waiting for the Forest Preserve police to come. We only have 4 guys on the street. And luckily it was a Sunday/Monday morning. So normally we're not that busy, but I asked the kid, like, where's your dad? Like, oh, he's working at a coffee shop. Like, a coffee shop? 3 a.m? He goes, yeah, I can take the bus there. I said, no, man, you're 17. I turned 18 in 2 weeks. I'm thinking to myself, thank God.
Cool. I wish it was 2 weeks later.
Right. But thank God, because everything this kid's going to do in the future is going to come back to haunt him. Finally, come back. So I called my boss. I'm like, listen, man, I can drive this kid to his dad's. It's like 8 minutes from here, 10 minutes in the city. He's like, all right, go ahead. Instead of waiting for the county to show up, because who knows when they were going to be there. So I shoot this kid over to his father's. It's in Chicago. I'm looking for the coffee shop. I get the address. It's on my GPS. I look to the right and it says like All American. It's like a club for Greeks. Like not a men's club, because that would be like boobs and stuff. It's like a social club. Yeah, it's like a social club like Tony Soprano would have had in Satriali's, in the back of Satriali's.
So like with boobs and stuff.
No, that's not the strip club. Satriali's was the pork store.
You mean to tell me there ain't no boobs in there? You mean to tell me there were no boobs in the back of Satriali's?
I didn't see many back there during the show.
Boobs in there.
I'm not talking about the guys that are boobs.
No. I'm talking about titties.
Okay. So I knock on the door. We have to go around the corner in the alley and knock on the door. It's like a secret code thing. I'm like, what am I getting myself into? Either way, it's just an assistant at their agency, and I'm not taking this kid back with me. So he knocks on the door, and this old Greek guy answers the door, and as soon as he sees this kid, it's his son. But this guy's got to be like in his
100?
late 70s. Yeah, he's fucking old. And this kid's 17. So I'm thinking mom, who's a dope addict, criminal, probably had sex with this guy at some point 17 years ago for dope. And he goes, get this fucking piece of shit away from me, in his thick Greek accent. And I'm like, no. This is your son. Guess what? Mom's in the hospital. You get him. He's like, he threatened me to poke me with a knife yesterday, and he punched me. And I'm like, it all happened in Chicago, first of all. So
you should call Chicago PD.
Call Chicago PD. There's a squad right at the 7-Eleven over there. They might want to come over here. I said, but listen, I'm leaving, and he's yours. And he's like, no fucking way is he coming in here. Apparently, the guy's boss gave the kid $100 the day before for his mom and him to get a room at a hotel for a day, or however long $100 lasts at a shitty motel, which they promptly gave to their cousin where they had been staying, who then used it on drugs, the kid told me. So I end up putting the kid in this guy's car. You can sleep in the fucking car. I'm like, fine. He's with his dad. I felt we're not bringing him back to our station. So I left the kid with his dad, who then probably left him in a car until this morning when his mom got out of the hospital. And so the county police called me and wanted the chief, or whatever their commander was that night, wanted to notify DCFS. I'm like, by the time that paperwork's filed, that kid's going to be 18. But here's all this information. Go ahead and start your fucking investigation. And then we used to have this guy in town. We have a lot of homeless people in the area, and we have a lot of alcoholic homeless people, of course. And we fight with them, and they do crimes. And we know them all by name. So a few years ago, this one who we've been dealing with for a long time finally had so overtaken with alcohol, he had a seizure in the alley. I showed up. I bought him lunch, gave him lunch, threw him in an ambulance, and he leaves. That was like 4 years ago. I haven't seen him since. Everybody thought this guy died. So I'm driving around Friday, and one of our old part-timers who's delivering food now, he's retired, he pulls up next to my squad. He goes, hey, I saw so-and-so in the park. I'm like, oh, you're fucking kidding me. He's like, yeah, he's over there. He goes to Aldi's, which is a discount shopping center, and you have to put a quarter in this shopping cart thing to get a cart out. And then when you put the cart back, you get your quarter back. So a lot of the homeless people will return the carts for the quarters. That's how they make money. So I think he's seen him in there. And I was on my way to go eat. I just got my coffee, 7:00 at night. I'm not going to deal with this guy until after I eat and drink my coffee. So later on at midnight, I'm just tooling around, and I go to the park where I usually see him. And we have a gazebo out there, and it's across a basketball court. And I hit my spotlight, and I see 2 people sitting at the gazebo, and I'm sure one of them is this guy. His first name is Mike. So as soon as I put the spotlight on him, they stand up, and then they start like walking away. And I'm like, I yell his last name. You better fucking stop. He's yelling back, who is it? I tell him, it's Marrazzo. He stops. The other guy just fucking beats feet on a bike. He's got a bicycle. He just takes off. So this Mike stopped, and then he turned around and said, get over here. He starts walking towards me. And I go, Mike, what are you doing, man? I thought you were dead. And he's lost like 60 pounds, and his hair is thinned out, burnt, sunburn. So what are you even doing here? Where have you been? What happened? So he went away and got a sober. And like for 26 months, he was in a hospital or some care center in a program. But now he's got esophageal cancer. Is that how you say it? Esophagus cancer.
No. So yeah, like esophageal.
All right. So he had come to town because he gets a stimulus check, and he'd never collected either of the 3 of them, any of the 3 of them. Huh. So he was going to like Jackson Hewitt to get his stimulus check stuff. So he had to go to get a birth certificate. Then he had to go get a new ID. Then he had to go to the tax place. So he decided to stop and see some of his old, I would say, friends.
Drug dealers?
No, he was clean. But
some of his
used
old
to hang
drug
out
dealers,
with.
yeah.
Yeah. And this is part of the job that, he's fought us, Brandon, so much over the 20 years. And he's been a real asshole because he's been drunk his whole life. And now he's sober, and he's got cancer. So he was telling me a story, even started crying. And I was on my way to lunch, so I didn't want to stay too long. But like 40 minutes, then Dan stops over. Dan's like, because I had called it in and I had some subjects in the park. So Dan swung by, and I said, that's just Mike. He's like, oh, hey, Mike, I thought you died. Sorry, this whole conversation again. And then Dan's like, I'm
about to die.
Yeah. So he says to me, he's staying in a home where it's not an old folks home, but some type of a federally funded assistance program home. And they have rules and hours and places. He has to be back by 7 p.m. or whatever if they let him out. So he had asked permission to go out and get his birth certificate and do all this stuff. He said to them, I'll be late. And then he didn't show up. He was still with us. And he has to go all the way on a train down to the city, down by the lake, and then all the way north. That's really far from where we were at, probably an hour and a half train ride. So he says, Mike, do you mind if I borrow your phone to call the center? Because I told him I would be late, but I'm still about 2 hours away from getting back. I'm like, yeah, man, let's give him a call. I put him on speaker, and the lady answers, and it's 11 o'clock at night. No, it's 12 o'clock at night. And she's like, Mike, where are you? I called the police and reported you missing. He's like, no, I'm okay. I told you I was going to be late. And she goes, late is like 8 p.m. It's midnight. She goes, I didn't know. And I said, no, this is Officer Marrazzo. He's here in Schiller Park. Oh, he's here and he's okay. He's with me. And she's like, okay, when are you coming home? Like, I'll be home soon. He's like, okay, officer, I just want to make sure he's okay. I'm like, no, he's okay. She's like, okay. So he goes, Mike, I'm gonna head out. He has to walk up to the town north of us to take the train. He goes, I'm gonna start walking. I go, all right. And I start walking away. And he goes, Mike, can you give me a ride? I'm like, yeah, man, come on, jump in the car. So he gets in the back seat and he goes, you're not gonna fucking take me to the police department, are you? I go, no, because I thought you were gonna arrest me. I go, why would I arrest you? I haven't seen you in like 5 years. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting in the park after closing. It's not even drinking. He goes, oh, thank you. So we shoot up, and he's telling me he's got a daughter. All these people that are homeless have stories, right? And we deal with them so much. and we get to start to despise them, right? Because we're so cynical, and our profession leads us down this path where, although we care about people, when you start dealing with the same people over and over and over, it wears on you, and you kind of forget that they're human too until, something like this happens. So actually, I drove him to the train station and then spent like 20 more minutes just outside the squad. We were just hanging out, talking, and just finding out what his aftercare was. He had chemo, all that kind of stuff, and what he was going to be doing. And he's like, I'd like to call you at some point if I ever need anything. And I gave my phone number, which I never normally do to anybody. And he called me the next day. I was sleeping. Hey, Mike, it's so-and-so. Oh, boy, here we go.
Hey, Mike, it's Mike.
Yeah. So anyways, that was, the short of my few things that happened in the last few weeks. But I don't know. I just wanted to say that even though we deal with a bunch of assholes all the time, they're still people. Sometimes I need a reminder of that myself personally. And I wish more of some of the people I know that do our job, would realize that. Because I know about 70% of the people I work with, if they had seen this guy in the park, probably would have arrested him for being in the park, and not even spent a minute to hear him out or even give him a ride. So whatever. I guess what goes around comes around. So I always want good karma coming back. So I try and give out good karma if it's possible. But, all right. Blah, blah, blah. Mike helped the homeless guy. So.
No, it's true. Like, I have one from when I was working at Monterey. I arrested a former classmate of mine. Now, granted, Monterey is roughly 2.5 hours from where we went to school.
Wow.
And she shoplifted from like a CVS or something, and then being an FTO, I put out a really detailed description to include the type of shoes, and that's what did her in.
Oh.
So my buddy arrests her, and she gives him some bullshit name. Like, it ended up being her sister's name. And I go walking into the interview room because it's a super small agency, and you're going to do the follow-up interview.
Yeah.
And she just drops her head. She goes, "Man, I never would have thought that I would be arrested by somebody that I went to high school with." And my FTO looks at me. I look back at him. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this is.
Nice.
Then she gives me her real name. I'm like, it actually does sound vaguely remember. Anyway, she's got like a felony warrant for stealing cars and for a bunch of like dope charges and stuff. And enough to where we're going to have to take her to the county jail in Salinas, which is roughly 25-30 minutes away. So basically, we got time to chit chat on the way. And I think I just said, like, what happened? And she tells me this whole story. She's like, you know what? I used to work for CAL FIRE, which is like our state kind of firefighting service. Deals with all the major wildfires in California. Okay. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I was working for CAL FIRE, got hurt, got hooked on the pain pills, which then turned into a heroin addiction. And then I started stealing cars
to fuel that,
to fuel the heroin. And then she goes, but I think this is rock bottom. She's like, I'm done. Like, somebody I know arrested me. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And about 6 months later, she sent me a friend request on Facebook. And we're Facebook friends.
Wow.
And she's back working for CAL FIRE. And by all indications has been clean and sober since that night. And that's about 4 or 5 years ago.
That's a good story.
So.
Very good story. See, I don't know. People that want to change and have a chance to, and they're given a chance to, hope, it's good to see those success stories. Not everybody wants help.
No, because then you have the homeless people that there's a homeless guy in Monterey. His name's Buddy. It's like 50 or 60. He's in his 60s now, I think. Chronic alcoholic, diabetic. Part of his probation says he cannot use or possess alcohol. And his mom owns a home in Monterey, and this guy chooses to be homeless and use and abuse alcohol.
Right.
I'm like, I got nothing for you, dude. Those are the people that I'm like, I do no. You don't
Well,
get the time
they
of day.
have an issue up here too, So
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah, they don't. I don't know. Anyways, so all right, we have.
All right, let's really depress people, Mike, because it's a
Well,
big number this week.
it is.
Well, you
I've
got
got
the 3 in the
yeah.
helicopter crash.
I
You got
only have
one that just
4.
came through today, and I
That
think
one's
there's one before.
on my list here. We ended with the Detroit police officer last week.
Yeah.
And there's only 4 after him.
Let's see what I got. It just maybe seems like it's just.
There might be more that they're going to pop up,
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's just the 3 plus the Louisiana guy.
Yeah. So I was going to do a hero of the week. First, I just wanted to mention, can you tell people what what the San Francisco Giants did?
So every so often, all the kind of major teams around here will do like a law enforcement appreciation night, and they've done a couple of them where they'll honor like fallen officers.
The White Sox do that about 3 times a year.
Yeah, and then so the Giants recently did one for the Salinas police officer that was killed in the line of duty, and they have usually members from that department come out. They line the outfield with like usually the motorcycles and stuff, and they do the whole little wee woo thing with the lights. And it's a really cool thing that they do, especially in a town that is not super supportive. Although they are coming to their senses because they recalled that retard Chelsea Boudin.
Good.
So he's no longer the district attorney. There's a new lady in there, and she's like, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Good. Criminals beware. I'm coming after you.
Yeah, so it was a cool thing. I like it when, my favorite team does something cool like that.
Yeah, my favorite team in football is the Cowboys, as you know. And after the Dallas officers were murdered, they wore, their numbers, badge numbers. And then a sticker, which the NFL wouldn't let them wear during the regular season because the NFL is a bunch of fucking hypocritic fucks. But anyways.
It's the no fun league.
God forbid you honor fallen heroes, actual heroes.
No, you got to put like criminal names on the back of the helmet, like Breonna Taylor.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to get in trouble for that one. Someone's going to get pissed because she was a criminal. Sorry.
Yeah, she was.
Just a fact.
Right. Just read up on it. Read the facts. You'll see that she's a criminal.
Read the search warrants. There's a reason why she was named in them.
All right. I guess we'll do the Law Enforcement Officer Down Memorial page now, which you can find at odmp.org if you want to follow along. I was going to say OMDB, which is the movie website that I go to.
No, that's IMDb.
IMDb.
I do the same thing.
There's so many letters.
The same thing.
Yeah. ODMP, not IMDb. OMDP.org if you want to follow along.
And I mean, with ODP, yeah, you know me.
I'm down with that.
All right. Okay, now be serious, Mike. This is serious.
I am serious. So there was a helicopter crash on the 16th of the week, 2 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. And the name of the county is the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office in New Mexico. And 3 officers died in this crash. So I'm going to list their names and end of watch. And then I'll tell you what happened because I just want to go to one of the pages for the description. But Under Sheriff Larry Corin of the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office in New Mexico, his end of watch was Saturday, July 16th, 2022 from the helicopter crash. Under Sheriff Corin, I was going to get his age and tour of duty, but it is not listed on here. So their helicopter Metro 2 crashed near Las Vegas, New Mexico. Rescue specialist Matthew King of the Bernalillo County Fire Department was also killed in the crash. And Metro 2, the helicopter itself, was returning to Albuquerque after assisting fire crews at the East Mesa fire. They were returning to Albuquerque after conducting bucket drops when the crash occurred at 7:20 p.m. Lieutenant Fred Beers was also on that chopper. And Lieutenant Beers, they're also not listing his age and tour of duty, nor who he left behind. Maybe because this just happened, they don't have that information. But the third officer was Deputy Sheriff Michael Levinson. They both look pretty young, the deputies. So those three perished during this crash of the helicopter. And the fourth officer not in a helicopter is Police Officer Brian Oliff of the Natchitoches Police Department in Louisiana. I'm probably saying that wrong, and I apologize. He passed away on Sunday, July 17th, 2022 from heat stroke. It was a heat-related medical event while working in the city's downtown district. He had served with the Natchitoches Police Department for 20 years and concurrently served with their parish sheriff's office. He previously served with the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office. He is survived by his wife and 3 sons. One of his sons also serves with the Parish Sheriff's Office. He was 52 years old. And there are no canines. So 4 this week that were listed on here, but 3 via suicide in the Chicago Police Department.
Yep.
So anybody that is having issues right now and thinking about suicide, please dial 988. It is a national number that just went into effect. Call immediately. There is help out there for you. There are other options, even though sometimes it doesn't look like there are. All right, we have a question for law enforcement, a law enforcement question from Superfan, David Franklin. And the question reads, regardless of department policy or funding, what would your go-to less lethal be? So if you can choose any less lethal weapon, what would it be?
I think it would depend on the situation, right? Like there's sometimes that a taser is going to work better than, a baton or something like that. So I think they each have their own thing. But if I had like perfect world, I can use whichever I want. The less lethal I want is the 40 millimeter foam baton impact projectile.
Foam baton?
Yeah. So basically it shoots a 40 millimeter projectile. That's foam, right? I know the media around here liked to call it a rubber bullet. It's not a rubber bullet. It's a foam
projectile.
They actually call it a foam baton projectile. I don't know why they call it a foam baton projectile, but whatever. It's about 40 millimeters in diameter, and it shoots out of this tube, and it is a pain compliance thing, and it is very effective. I love the 40 mil. I've seen a crazy person eat 4 beanbag shotgun rounds and just be like, nah, good. And then finally got bored of us hitting her with it and was like, fine, I'll stop. But not not from this. I'm just bored. I think the baton's an underrated thing too, like the hard wood baton.
Yeah, the old fashioned one.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the 40 mil. What about you, Mike? What's yours?
Mine would be actually from Sage Control Ordnance. It's a weapon called an SL6. It looks like a grenade launcher. Got a barrel that launches the huge, like polyurethane type of projectiles. It's like a fist that comes flying at you, and you can only shoot it in certain parts of the body because if you hit somebody in the head with it, you can kill them, obviously. But if you look up Sage Control Ordnance, less lethal.
It sounds a lot like my 40 mil.
Yeah, it does.
You just have the specific brand.
When you say, so you break it open, right?
Yeah.
And you turn the barrel that locks, and then you load your projectiles in there, and then you have to push the middle button and unwind it manually so it doesn't snap back.
Well, ours is only it's a single shot.
Oh,
I think when I worked
okay.
in Monterey, we had something where it had like a drum in there, like
Yeah.
the old school 6-shooter, and then it has like a foregrip, and then you use that to pump it.
Yeah. It's like
Okay.
thunk, thunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome. That's one of my.
Yeah.
I've never got to deploy one yet. We train with them every year. We have this rubber man that hangs on
It
the
just stands
target,
out there.
and it's actually like a flat piece of rubber. It's not even.
Oh wow.
Like it's not the full body punching one. It's a flat rubber silhouette, and we have to aim for forearms
Arms, legs,
and thighs. Yeah,
You can't
forearms
do
and thighs.
You can't do a tummy shot.
No, it'll kill you.
Oh man, it
Yes.
wouldn't. If you're like right up on the person.
It-
Anyways,
it-
my department's being sued for our, we'll call it enthusiastic use of that during the 2020 riots.
okay, just many units used those things and sprayed rubber
We
batons.
sent a lot of rounds in there.
Wow.
But no, they're cool. Like you can use them to fire off like CS gas canisters or
Okay.
riot control things. You can like they're dual purpose. They make rounds like for that.
Okay.
Not that I think we use those, but
Yeah. Big fan of
there's
those.
yeah. I know one thing that we didn't talk about. Maybe we can either get into it now or we can save it for next week.
Okay.
But recently, additional footage was released from the Uvalde school shooting with a more accurate timeline and video to go with a lot of the images. So if you want, we can talk about that, or we can save that for next week because I got a feeling we're going to both have a lot to say.
Yeah, I think we should save it for next week.
Okay. We'll just make that our law enforcement section.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless one of us has a crazy call.
No, that sounds like a good plan because that's in the national news right now. And
yeah,
even though it's going to be a week later, that's fine. We can.
Yeah. I mean, that gives us a chance to fully dive into it. I haven't had a chance to fully dive into it yet, but I'm really interested to get a better understanding of the timeline. But from what small clips I have seen, it's worse than we thought.
Yeah, I try putting myself in that position. We'll talk about it next week. So I just sent you a picture of the weapon I'm talking about. It actually has a red dot on it, which is not in the picture. We have the site for it as a red dot site. All right, so what we're going to do is switch over to the woodworking portion of the show in a minute.
And we're back.
Yeah. All right. So have you had any new projects that you've started in the world of woodworking?
No. No.
I've got nothing.
No. So it's been busy around here, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. I really haven't had a chance to get out in the shop, and I've noticed a difference in my attitude. So I actually am getting a chance to go in there tomorrow to just fiddle fart around and try to do something out there to improve my mood. But like today, took the kids out to the park because we're getting ready to start the next year of homeschooling. So Annie wants to get the homeschool area kind of situated. So kids came with me for most of the day so she could kind of organize and get that stuff ready.
So question.
Answer.
When you're doing homeschooling, do you get to pick the dates of when it starts and stops, or it has to be done by a certain time in the calendar year per the regulations?
So for us, I think the way we're doing it is really smart. We are technically going through a charter school, but it is home-based. So Annie has they're called an education specialist that basically supervises her and is a resource for her to ask questions to and all of that, so that she has some guidance. So in that aspect, technically we start school on like August 22nd or something like that. But like if for some reason the kids just aren't feeling it on a random Wednesday,
right?
You don't have nothing says like, oh, you have to be doing school until like 2:30.
Okay.
You can just be like, look, you guys are not focused. We're done at noon. We're done now. But it's cool because we get educational funds per kid to spend on like curriculum and supplies and stuff.
Okay.
So we just
that's gotta help.
So you submit a purchase order through your education specialist and then you get the stuff.
Okay.
Versus we did a year where we straight up just did homeschool on our own and we had to foot the bill for all of it. And holy shit,
really,
that gets pricey.
How did you find out about this other thing where you would get paid
that's
back?
That's 100% Annie. She did a deep dive into like, there's got to be something better. And then she found this and she's been running with it ever since. And the kids are going to probably continue to do this for the foreseeable future. And then when they start getting into the higher grade levels, then we got to make a decision on, do you go back to regular school or do we keep doing this?
Can you homeschool through high school and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it makes it difficult with like extracurricular activities like sports and stuff.
Right.
Granted, my oldest is 9, about to be 10. Like I don't know what the hell if he's going to stick with baseball or soccer or football or whatever, or have it be to where that's something that could pay for his college. So I see that as a problem that we don't have yet, but it's something that we may need to start thinking about if he sticks with it and continues to improve. And the same thing with my daughter and her stuff. And then who knows about the third one.
Right.
Number 3. So, but I think tomorrow, because I have an idea for a law enforcement themed sign. Because I've been kind of going down the sign
rabbit hole. Yeah. I get.
So I've got an idea that I think I'm going to try out tomorrow, which by the time this airs will already have been a thing, and maybe it'll be a flash giveaway, or maybe it'll just go up on a wall in the house. Who knows? I don't know yet. But I've got some serious ones, some religious ones, some movie themed ones, funny stuff that I'm percolating in the brain that I want to get put onto wood. And I have a charcuterie board I have to make.
Oh, awesome.
Well, I don't have to make, I get to make it.
Okay. Is it for a customer?
Yeah. So it's for a homeschooling friend that Annie went to this conference with. It's supposed to be like for a baguette. It's like a
French
baguette board.
Okay.
So she wants it long and skinny.
Okay.
So I got to start thinking about that. And then what I want to, she goes basically like, you pick whatever it should be made out of. I'm like, sweet. I like your style.
I want to turn one of those cutting boards into a charcuterie board for my niece, Lexi.
You just call it a charcuterie board.
Yeah, but it has to be right. I have to cut a shape out of it or something.
No, you don't.
You put handles on it?
You don't have to. You just put it like that. It's charcuterie board. I swear to God, I've seen things like, oh, it's a really thin cutting board. They're like, charcuterie board. I'm like, oh shit. All right, cool. That's what I did one year. I had like these chunks of walnut that like I couldn't make into really anything else given the tools that I had at the time. Yeah. So I just drew designs on them and cut them out with a jigsaw and then sanded them down, rounded over the edges.
Yeah.
Charcuterie board.
That just happened.
Like, Merry Christmas, mother truckers.
Maybe I'll do that then.
So, but I did pick up a bunch of paint and primer to kind of test out on what I like. And then I still need to do the garden window with all the epoxy, but it's been hot.
Yeah.
I don't want to risk it like curing too fast and getting issues with it. So I'm trying to wait for kind of the weather to equalize a little bit.
Okay.
I see that there's no kitchen island / vanity in your shop anymore.
Anywhere in my house.
What's going on there? Is
Thursday. I wish I could say it was finished. It's actually delivered. So Thursday. Today is Monday. So last Thursday I delivered it to the client, and I do this in the evening, right? So I have to wait till my truck comes home because we have one car at the moment. One's not working. So the wife takes the truck to work, So when she came home, I had to wait for her. And then I'm like, hey, do you want to go with? This should be a quick thing. It's the first thing. It's a mistake.
Famous last words.
Famous last lines. Quick thing. All I got to do is install an island.
We should just be in and out. 20 minutes tops.
Yeah. I go maybe an hour. It's like 30-minute drive, hour install, 30 minutes back. And I don't like to keep her out or up on weeknights because she gets up early and she's not sleeping well. She's like, yeah, I'll go. All right, cool. And we hadn't eaten dinner yet because I had just got up. So we're going to have to eat dinner at some point. So I cruise out there, and I bought a bunch of different ceramic bits for my drill because I have to drill through the ceramic tile and then through the cement board into the subfloor in 4 locations because I'm going to put a 2x4 at each end, and then the island slides over that, and you screw through the island into the 2x4 on the ends. Yeah. So I bought all new drill bits. And then I brought my corded Craftsman drill because that's the strongest drill I have. And her husband helps me get it into the kitchen, and my client was trying to figure out where she wanted it exactly. So we must have moved it around, forward, backward, side to side, probably for about 20 minutes with a tape measure, figuring out if she can squeeze through this side when the countertop's on it and all that other stuff. So finally we get it all marked out, and we get it measured, and I draw lines on the floor, on the tile with a pencil at each end, so I know where to set it. And I had measured, it was really hard. After I painted it, hung the doors and all that stuff, it's sitting on 2 horses in the garage. I had to measure the inside diameter from one end to the other, so I knew how far apart to put the 2x4s. Had I been thinking properly, if I ever do another one, I would have measured that after it was framed out. Before I put the corbels on it, I could have laid it down on the table here in the shop and took the measurement. It's really hard to do it when it's on a horse and you're on the ground and you got to stick the tape measure up over the horse to the inside and then try, but I thought I had the measurement properly. And then on top of that, I took the thickness of each end, right? It's 73 inches long. Took the thickness of each end and subtracted that from 73. It should tell you where to set the 2x4s on the floor. 2x4s are round, by the way.
Yes,
they're not
rounded.
They're not square.
No, that would make too much sense.
They kind of bulge out a little bit.
They're bulgy,
which comes into play in this story. So first off,
that one's for David Miller.
Nice. I pre-drilled the holes in the 2x4 here at the shop. So everything's ready to go. I set the 2x4 down, but I don't know how to mark the floor location through the hole of the 2x4. My center punch isn't working because it's too far of a drive.
Yeah. So
I grabbed the bit and put it through the top of the piece of wood and try and mark it on the floor. And it doesn't really do a great job. But I find it enough to work fine after a while. So I start drilling and drilling and drilling. And then I'm like, I need some water because the bit's getting hot. It's smoking. Getting hot. I must have been drilling the first hole for like 10 minutes. Now, I have a bad back, if I haven't told you. I just
assume you do because you're a cop.
I had a bad back before I became a police officer. So anything that requires me bending over for a long period of time and putting stress, that's not good for me. So now I'm sitting and trying to drill. That's not good position. Then I'm kneeling. I get one hole done, and the screw won't go. It's not going through the concrete board that the tile's sitting on. I get it through the tile. It's not going through the concrete board to even get to the wood subfloor. And I'm pissed. And I've got all new bits I bought, and none of them are doing a great job. And now, worst thing as a contractor, because I technically am a contractor, right? Not looking prepared. Like I bought the wrong bits, which I didn't. I bought ceramic tile bits. I forgot about concrete board underneath subfloor. So my client says, let me go ask first of all, let me ask my husband. So he had a new bit set as well, which was basically the same thing I had. So he said, I haven't used this in 5 years. I'm not a handyman. I don't need this shit. You can use it, and if it works fine. So I try his bit. Same thing. She goes next door to her neighbor. It's like a professional handyman. And he brings over, are you familiar with Tapcon products for drilling into concrete? It's concrete screws, and I've used them to set, when I built this whole shop out, when you screw into concrete, you have Tapcon drill bit that goes through the concrete, and then the concrete screw bit itself, it bites into concrete. I used it also to hang this pegboard up on the concrete wall. So I didn't even think of Tapcon. Wasn't because I was thinking ceramic tile, right? That's in my head. It's on ceramic tile floor. I'm not thinking concrete. And so he comes over with a Tapcon bit. Says, here, try this. Right there. Like, son of a bitch. So finally I set all 4 screws and the 2 2x4s. Now we have to pick up the island and set it over. So my wife's like, she wants to help. So I'm like, cool, grab that end. So she grabs it and we get her end on, and then her end goes down and my end's resting up on top of the 2x4 right on the edge. Like, oh, that's not good. Did I put these holes in the wrong place? So we pick it up again and we farting around with it for like 8 minutes. I'm like, put it down, move it off to the side. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to drill 4 more holes or 2 more holes and move a 2x4 up like a 1/16 of an inch. If that. So my wife, I start hammering it because if you get a hammer, knock it over a little bit, that might help. So I hammer both in this way from the sides towards the middle, and then we pick it up a little bit closer. So finally I'm just like, Kim goes, just unscrew them. Like not all the way, but just loosen them a little bit and give it some movement. So sure enough, I loosened all 4 screws just a little bit to where it just moves a little bit, and it slid right over. Now you can't retighten them because they're under the cabinet. But then I just drilled 4 screws in, 2 on each side.
Yeah.
So I trimmed it out with the baseboard, which was going out to the garage, sitting on the floor, bending over the miter saw, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth till I get it all perfect. And then it was time to do the base shoe. And when I bought the base shoe, I bought 2 really long pieces to go on each long side, and then a not so long piece that I could divide by 2 and put on the ends. It ended up being 2 inches short. So I got 3 pieces of base shoe on it, and I have to go back tomorrow night to put the last piece of base shoe on, then caulk it where it meets the floorboard, and then fill all the nail holes, and then sit around and wait till that dries, and then paint it. Or leave her the paint and a brush.
Say, get the kind that dries in 15 minutes, put that stuff on, then do the caulking, then come back and you should be able to sand it and paint it.
Painter's caulk usually dries in 20 minutes, So I'll once, and then I use mud, drywall mud, for nail holes. Tip my finger in it, and then you can use it either you can sand it, which I don't really like to sand it, but you can just use a damp cloth too, and not even damp. Like you wring it out really bad, and then wring it out again, and then that smooths it out too. So it'll take me probably an hour. Take me 10 minutes to put the piece of trim in because I have to go back and forth I don't like just to cut a piece and hope it's 73 inches. I cut one, miter it, so it meets at that corner, and then I mark it at the other end, but I mark it long. So I just make continued trips back and forth to make sure I don't take off too much at a time because I only have one piece. So I'm not going to cut it short.
One shot.
Yeah. Here we go. So that's tomorrow night, and then that's done. And I had her give me her t-shirt size and her husband's t-shirt size because I still haven't made the shirt. So I'm going to be making some t-shirts. I owe a few t-shirts to people. So when I did the big t-shirt order, there was a few that didn't make it out. So I have to crank all that shit up one night, and then I'll make a few t-shirts and send them out. So that's it. And then talking to you about needing a quick win, I started 2 real quick projects before I went back to work on Friday night. So Thursday night, after I set that vanity, I got home. I felt like I got hit by a truck, literally, from up and down. Got home late. It turned into I think we got home at 10:30 or almost 11 o'clock at night. It was going to be a 1-hour thing. My poor wife. So I came down the shop and I was exhausted, but I thought it would be a great time to start knocking out a few smaller projects. So I have a Chicago flag that someone ordered. I cut it, burned it. Other thing, I ran out of propane tank, my big propane tank with my blowtorch. Yeah. I don't have it. I ran out. I have to get a new one. So I had to hand burn the wood for the flag on both sides, and so hard. I was so tired. My arm was killing me. So I burned that, painted up the flag, cut the stars out on the CNC. I haven't done that in a while. Stained them. That's all ready to be glued up. I think I'm going to polyurethane it first because I want to put together like a panel and not the big wood straps on the back.
Yeah.
But glued up like a panel. And then for squeeze out, if it's polyurethane, that glue wipes right off. If I don't polyurethane it before I put it together, it'll take off some paint when I wipe off the glue because that paint is just a water-based paint.
Yeah.
It's going to come right up. So I think I'm going to polyurethane everything and then put it together with biscuits. I think. I don't know. I'm still figuring out how to hang that one. And then I started a sign for George Vieira from Nowhere VA Woodworking. He's a sergeant, and they're having a sergeant's office decorated or rebuilt at his police department. And he wants a sign that has words like integrity and then the word, and aggressive and all this stuff he wanted on it. It's pretty cool. So, but then he said he wanted
basically the cop version of a Pinterest sign.
It might be. I don't know where he got it
Instead of live,
from.
laugh, love, it's like integrity, aggression.
There's like
Community?
7 or 8, call it sayings on there with definitions. And he didn't know how
he wants like integrity, and then the definition of integrity, service, sacrifice.
Yeah, stuff like that. He sent it to me in a Word doc, so I can.
Yeah.
Look. So default mode is aggressive. And then it says, we do everything with maximum effort. We push ourselves hard in the face of adversity, and we aggressively live our core values. And then the next one's initiative, and then discipline.
You should do with the maximum effort thing?
Deadpool?
In the O,
yeah.
You should do the Deadpool logo.
Deadpool logo. It's pretty funny.
Like, don't ask him if you can do it. Just
do it, yeah. Initiative, discipline, lifetime student, good is not enough, humility and enthusiasm. So, and then at the top, he wants a blue line. At the bottom, he wants a blue line. So I'm going to use a bowl bit, and I might fill that with blue epoxy. I think that'd be pretty cool. And the lettering black.
That's something I've wanted to do is do a blue line flag, but then like everything I use is typically like 3/4 of an inch, and then take something that's maybe 1/2 inch or even 1/4 inch, and then for the blue line, do an epoxy pour. Because I think that would look real nice.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe even do like an LED strip underneath it.
Clear epoxy.
Yeah, well, no, do a blue one, tinted it blue.
Oh, right,
and then you can do just a regular light underneath it, and that should make that blue really stand out.
Stand out, yeah.
In theory.
I thought about that too. So that's what I'm working on.
I haven't had the balls to do it though.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those things that you're going to do for advertising to see if it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll do it, and if it works, you can advertise it and then offer it. And then
maybe I'll do that and then put my logo in the union.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But you just put your logo here, but you show yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your department.
Or it could just be like a no. I was gonna do my like Full House logo.
Yeah, I know you were gonna do that, but if a police officer wants it, they can put their department logo, or you know what I mean,
yeah.
or
maybe
something.
I will put my department logo in there.
Yeah, here's what I have to do. I get stuck thinking about promotional items for the shop, right, or for the website, because I have flags on my website that actually have someone's name on them, the stuff I've made. I want to make a few items to put on the website as demonstrating purposes that say your department name here. Instead of the officer's name there, it says your name and badge number engraved into the flag. That's what it says. Or your department name here. Because people can't
They have a hard time visualizing.
Right, they're looking at Santana's flag that I did for him, and they're like, Santana with his badge number. Yeah, I don't see my name there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can physically carry it around to fire departments or police departments and say, this is what I do, but your name goes here. Not this is someone else's flag.
Yeah, especially if you're going to do like a craft show or something like that, to have those up there as like, this is what you can do, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's an idea too. I've got 900 million ideas. All I need is
I know. I'm the same way, and a lot of times it's paralysis through analysis, and it's one of those like I just need to do. I need to do something with it. So like I have a flag ready to go. It just needs a union. Like it's not sold or anything like that. It's just I thought that my buddy was going to need 2. He had a sale fall through. So now I basically have one ready to go for his next one, or I could do something with it.
I've got pine, to make one flag.
Pine is fine.
Right. I think since no one's ordered a pine flag from me, and it's just sitting over there, I might make that either make my example flag out of it.
Yeah.
It's your department name, or make it for the Sheriff Ivy. And then Evil's Not Dead Enough. And then send it to him from the Handcuffs and Sawdust podcast.
That'd be pretty dope.
Right? It's going to cost me maybe $30 or $40 for a promotional piece.
Ooh, I think I know what I'm going to do with mine. I'll tell you off air.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I always want to mention these things I want to do, and I want someone to steal the idea.
Yeah. No, I got an idea. I think it's a good one.
All right, cool. Well, let's wrap this puppy up.
Okay. So, for questions, because we have a couple things to cover here. So, Mike, don't start the outro music yet.
No, because we have to talk about our sponsor.
We do have to talk about our sponsor.
I want to redo the whole read.
We have to remind. We already did the read.
Well, we do it again at the end.
We do it again. Well, don't. No. You pay for one read. I feel like I have to be the CFO of this dang thing.
No,
Mike's like, no, I'm just going to give you all the advertising in the world. No. We offer a reasonable rate to sponsor an episode. You get one read. We talk about, how many times have I talked about Driver Back? In episodes that weren't sponsored.
Yeah, right.
But no, Driver Back is honestly wonderful. Like I said before, it's the tool you didn't know that you needed. And we are giving one away this episode. Well, it'll be given away next episode, but we're telling you about it this episode. You'll get it. You enter today, you win later. And what you do is you're going to send an email. Mike, do you want emails or do you want DMs?
They can. No, I want emails.
One or the other.
I want
one
emails.
or the other. Don't give people
options. It has to be right. No, emails. They have to be emails.
Okay, emails. All right, real simple. We all do it for work. We all hate it. We get it. Whatever. Send an email to handcuffs&sawdustpodcast at gmail.com. And Mike, what are they going to tell us?
They're going to tell us why. First of all, as homework, you need to go to the website, driverback.com, and see the system and tell us why you want it and why you deserve it.
Okay, so why you want it, why you deserve it. And you know what? Since you're already sending an email, you might as well take your phone, right? If you have an iPhone, it's called voice memo, right? Record a question. It can be any question. It could be, what's your favorite color? What kind of toppings do you like on your pizza? Does pineapple go on pizza? You can ask us anything and then send that. You got to click send. You got to attach the voice memo and then send. And then Mike and I will look through them and we will pick a winner. I'm not saying that if you send a question, you stand a better chance. But does it hurt? Does it hurt anything?
It does not.
It doesn't.
We're going to put all these names in a hat or whatever I have, paint cup sitting around. I'm actually going to, or we'll do one of those.
Maybe a 5-gallon bucket.
Or a 5-gallon bucket or a spinning wheel thing on the internet.
You know what you could do? What we could do. Do we possess the ability to go live on the YouTubes?
Of course we do.
Okay. So what if we went, and I'm just throwing out that this is all live. This is real reactions. Raw. What if we went live for the pre-show?
On YouTube.
On YouTube. And you share your screen and we pick the winner live on air.
We might be able to do that. If one person if we only get one person that sends in something, I'm going to be upset for one.
Then it's not going to be very suspenseful.
Right. If we have enough people,
I still think it would be hilarious.
And let's see, we get the wheel spinning. It's one name. It's just spinning. Name on it.
And I wonder who it could be. Who could it be?
But we have to have these in by Saturday.
Okay, so
we're going to record on Sunday next week.
Okay, so this goes out the 20th.
Oh, yes. This
goes out on Wednesdays.
Yes.
Okay, so you're listening to this on Wednesday. You have until the 23rd. The 23rd is the last day to get your entries in.
To enter the contest to win a driver back system.
Because we will be recording on the 24th.
Correct. And we might have a guest that night too.
And we could have a guest that night. Who could it be?
Well, it could be many people that want to be on the show. So we're trying to set up schedules right now with Matt Voltner. He's one, right? He's interested. He said Sunday nights work well for him.
Okay, so he'll be on a Sunday episode.
I think he said Sunday nights work well for him.
Yeah, don't be a liar. Don't be a liar, Mike. Mike
Liar.
is checking messages.
No, well, Mike is checking messages because we were texting this week about it. And I told him we work late, we record late, and he's like, that's fine. That doesn't matter to him.
Because that is a deal breaker for some people.
Yeah, and Kamani, from Van Stray, he's in Washington State. So he's like, his kids go to bed at 8 or 8:30.
So this is prime time he's on my time.
Yeah, he's on your time. So he's in as well, and either Monday or Sunday for him works. So I'm going to send out an email and see which one may be able to join us, next week. And we'll be surprised to see who that is.
Maybe we'll have a third window.
Maybe we will have a third window.
It's been a while since we've had one.
Matt says Sunday nights are best for him. So
okay,
I'll ask him
he'll
if
be on a
make
Sunday
it next
episode.
Sunday. Yeah. All right.
So that's how you enter the contest. If you want to just reach out to me and Mike and say hey or ask us a question, you can also DM us at Full House Woodworking for me, in case you didn't know, or at Marrazzo Woodworking, not the Midnight Handyman, not the Midnight Maker, Marrazzo Woodworking.
That's right.
Although I think if you type those in, it still pops up with your thing.
Of course. 3 names later. And I still have email addresses for those damn names as well. Okay.
You probably bought the web domains too, didn't you?
I did for the Midnight Handyman.
I knew it.
Waiting for someone to offer me money for it. I got a job interview Wednesday.
Knock 'em dead.
Thank you, pal. Thanks for joining episode 48. Stay safe in the shop and on the streets. Peace.
Deuces.
Boom. All right.